London FanFest keynote. I'm going to run through it pretty quickly just to not waste anyone's time. This is the new job VIPER, and what we found out today is that it is a dual wielding, two-sworded melee DPS job that can combine them into a single sword. It's going to share everything that Ninja does, so those who are on that type of class, they will share the same gear. And we'll find out more about the next job at the Tokyo show. I, for one, am really happy about this aesthetic and glad that it's not Corsair and is like an original Final Fantasy XIV idea. Then they talked a little bit and showed off some of the areas, and I'm going to kind of speed through this, and they were talking about our journey, and the journey is going to be about discovery. And Yoshi P hinted or said that this is going to be even better than the Hydaelyn and Zodiac series, which I find very interesting. So that to me seems like they have another 10-year plan in place. So that's just like an interesting tidbit to say that you're going to be better than Hydaelyn and Zodiac. This image kind of alludes to that because like Yoshi P did show off this area afterwards, and then there's a big secret over the front left corner as you can see, and it kind of just is like, hey, there's this thing that we want you to discover in game, but we don't really want to talk about it now because we'd like you to discover it. And that's the only thing I could think that could make it as compelling as the Zodiac and Hydaelyn series. And I'm sure this has something to do with that's driving this main story of Dawntrail and why we're here and one of the compelling factors behind it. Then they talked about some Alliance Tribe. I'm going to skim over some of this because they've covered it in other places. The level cap's increasing to 100. I feel like that should be known for everyone. And then they showed us the new dungeons, which I thought was hilarious because they're like, hey, this is a dungeon. And as I speed up a little bit, this right here, Yoshi P, Amazon River. This is not a dungeon. This is a river. This is definitely not a dungeon. So I just thought that was funny. And then they showed like the final area here. That's like I love the lighting in this, like a cave that's underneath the bottom or whatever. I'm gonna pause it when I get there again. The lighting in this area is phenomenal. So, and I really like the idea of this, of just like having a sunken cave that's like underneath the world and then the only light comes in from the outside. I really love areas like that. And then they showed off some concept art to some new dungeons like this one. I saw some memes around there that like where my cursor is. There's going to be a trash pull here and then a trash pull here and then the boss here. This kind of gives me Moria feels from like Lord of the Rings, an underground cavern held up by columns. So like I do like the aesthetic of it, and it's kind of like Aztec Mayan theme, so something that I really enjoy. And then the last dungeon, this is kind of Midgar-ish feeling, like an Aether factory. This does not feel like I'm in Mexico or anything like that. So this is kind of out of place. So more of a dungeon vibe that we can like sense. Then they talked about a new threat. They didn't tell if this was a raid boss or anything. I think this is going to be just like a story boss or a trial boss. And it's called the Eliminator. So it's like got a pretty neat design to it. Very... I don't even know what to call this, mecha-like maybe? I don't know, it's concept art, but kind of gives me some Pulse vibes from Final Fantasy XIII. I doubt that has anything to do with it, it's just giving me the vibes of that. Then they talked about some new gear and recipes, so I'm just going to show the concept art of this one real quick. This is the new job gear, and they said that this is going to be more of designed for the job rather than around the expansion. So I think what we have here is Dancer, Dark Knight, Monk, and White Mage. I could be wrong on some of them. It could be Sage, but maybe Summoner. I don't know. I'm not great with the designs of everything. And they talked a little about lifestyle content. Bigger reveal in Tokyo because it wasn't ready. They talked a little bit about content that we know we're getting, like ultimate raids, regular raids, variant dungeons, the Alliance raid, and that was the big reveal if I go here a little bit. The big thing they talked about here was the Echoes of Vana'diel. This is from Final Fantasy XI, for those of you who are familiar with that game. So that is quite interesting that that's the Alliance raid. That's probably the biggest piece of information that we got out of all of this live letter besides the new job. Super excited for that. So I'm like really interested to see how that one goes out. And not to be outdone, the last piece of super exciting content, because they're updating everything from Blue Mage to Hildebrand to Deep Dungeons, Golden Saucer, is we're getting a new limited job. Yes, a new limited job. A lot of speculation around Beastmaster. No idea what it could be. I totally didn't forget this. You totally forgot this when I was recording the first time, but the collaboration between Final Fantasy XIV and Final Fantasy XVI is finally happening in sometime in patch 6.5. I didn't give us a date. I don't think it's coming with X1 or 5.1. I think it'll be coming with 5.5 in January or whenever that is. So I'm super excited for that. They have the Torgal mount and the Clive attire that you'll be able to acquire in the game, it looks like, based off of some of the images that they saw. But yeah, I'm glad the directors were able to work this one out. But basically, that is the gist of everything in the keynote that you need to know about. If you're an Xbox player, the beta is going to start in January a little bit. And there's going to be a stress test in November. But that's basically the big highlights of the keynote. I wanted to go through them as quickly as possible. Obviously, you can watch the keynote for yourself. And I'll have a link to the trailer to the VIPER, so you can see that in full rather than just Yoshi P walking around in his cosplay. But that's all for this video. I hope you have a great day.